Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ooze Global Media. And today we have with us a very renowned personality from the Bengali film industry, Sneha Chatterjee. Welcome to the show, Sneha, and thanks for
Hi.
accepting our request on such a short notice.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome. So, Sneha is from the Bengali film industry and she has been a meditation therapist. She has been acting in popular Bengali soap operas series like Goyenda Ginni, which is airing on Zee Bangla, Satyamev Jayate, which is airing on Aakash Aath, and she has been, exploring meditation and uh, past life regression therapies and techniques for healing, which is quite prominent now. She has spent almost 3 years exploring meditation exclusively, and she is extremely passionate about teaching people art of self-empowerment, fighting against violence in all forms, healing past traumas, shattering mental conditions, and being into continuous journey of healing and growth. So, welcome, Sneha, and let's hear more about you and your journey and how an actress has transformed into a meditational therapist, how that has happened.
Thank you so much. This is a question that I get asked a lot. So I'd like to begin by saying that I did not plan this at all. My big dream was to be in acting. And, since childhood, actually, due to my mother's influence in spirituality, I've always been curious about human nature, about human consciousness, about what happens after death. Is there life after death at all? Is there a god? Is there any divine consciousness that people talk about? So I was curious about all of these things, and pretty much throughout my life I was reading books of Swami Vivekananda. I was reading the Bhagavad Gita. So this was me. This was essentially me. So after acting happened, like I enrolled myself into an acting school. I topped there, and then I started getting work in film industry. I've always been curious about violence and why certain people behave the way they are. So I started to seek help in the form of therapy because I was severely depressed. I was thinking about suicide, and I was feeling helpless. So, but a lot of people invalidated my feelings at that stage of time. So this is when I realized that no, maybe I'm seeking the answers in the wrong places. This is when I happened to visit Dakshineshwar temple, the famous one here, dedicated to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa and his
New,
famous disciple
new
Swami
Button.
Vivekananda. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's where I was, and something happened after I visited that temple. Something told me that I need to start meditating. This came out of the blue, but this was the best decision of my life because this saved my life from sinking. Because before meditating, I was feeling as if the world was the work of a devil. Like I felt that the world was so wrong. It was so unfair. It was full of evil and injustice. When I
Hmm.
started meditating, and then I had certain experiences that normally people don't come across, and this opened my mind. So I'll discuss this book. I would highly recommend people to read this one book that changed my life. Before I was meditating, I came across this book called Flatland. This is the story of a square who one day he wakes up and he has a meeting with a person from the third dimension, and it's a cube. So this is a square meeting a cube. So
Mm-hmm.
psychologically, for me, this was a very eye-opening book. And after I decided to meditate, and I had certain experiences that told me that no, there is some sort of justice available in this world. But for that, I need to first evolve myself. I need to become self-aware, and I need to take the reins in my hands. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be the accidental product of just copy-pasted opinions of other people, of society and mediocrity. So this is that one thing, meditation, that changed me. It made me feel so powerful and bold and fearless. All my subservience, fear for authorities, it just died, and I just felt so amazing. I was more than healed. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is what happens when a square meets a cube. Your eyes just open into a new dimension. And I started meeting people who were very evolved spiritually from me. And I started meeting guides and true masters. And
Mm-hmm.
that changed my life for better. I was not only just healed from depression, but I was for the first time just the happiest person in the universe. I was so grateful to the universe. So I'm kind of grateful that I became depressed. And I'm grateful to all those people who were mean to be in film industry, because thanks to them, I'm here now telling you about this. I'll talk about it more later on as we have this conversation. So this is how I bumped up here, and I started experimenting with therapy and hypnotherapy as well as meditation techniques, and I found a way that healed me. And I experimented the same thing with my friends. So this is when
Mhm.
my friends started encouraging me that maybe I should open up something, and I should make this available to everybody who wants to heal from depression, who wants to change their habits, who wants to get away from their past self and want to create their life afresh. So yeah, this is how I came upon my meditation therapy practice that I share.
So even I read that you've been to Himalayas. You've secluded yourself from the crowd, and you were there all alone. So is that true?
Yes, very much.
So how much time you spent there?
I During that time I was so depressed that I decided that once I found meditation, for me it was like finding a treasure chest. So I
Hmm.
wanted to dedicate my entire life to this, to spiritual empowerment, as well as to ascend in the ladder of consciousness. And
Hmm.
so I decided to get away from everything. I told my parents that, Mom and Dad, I'm not interested in this leading this regular normal life. I don't want to just get married for the sake of getting married. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want to find out what life is all about. I want to know myself, to be very honest. I was scared. I was scared of leaving everything behind, but it was well worth it. So I spent a year in the Himalayas. I explored many monasteries. I came across many spiritual organizations. Majority of them, by the way, they are fraudulent. Like, they just try to loot money from people. They just scam people and they say all kinds of things. Yes.
That's an
To
eye opener for many.
Yeah, it is. It is. It was eye opening for me as well. So I started to come across some good people as well, but majority of them nasty. Like, if a beginner wants to learn meditation, I would recommend that they should just stick to books of people, great men and women who have walked on this world. You should stick to Swami Vivekananda, Ramana Maharshi. There are so many amazing people who have walked on this globe, and I think if you truly want to walk in this path, you have a thirst for truth, you should stick to this. You should start with this. You should follow the meditation techniques recommended by these people, and then eventually, once you evolve to a certain point, then you will automatically be able to know who is a fraud guru, who is a charlatan, and who is a person that you can trust. Because you need intuition. You need intuition to function in this world. You need to know within few days or even few months whether or not you want to trust a person or not. It is a crucial skill that a lot of people don't talk about. So I was exploring this by myself in the Himalayas, and then I went further deep because I had several experiences of the mystical nature that I wanted to explore it further. So I wanted to dedicate my next 2 3 years to just this alone, and I'm so glad I did it. It changed my life for the better.
Great, good to hear. So you are also a teacher. You are teaching people art of self empowerment. So who inspired you to get into teaching after that?
It would be definitely my mother.
Uh-huh.
And yes, because my mother in her lifetime, she has also faced a lot of injustice, a lot of violence from people, and both
Oh.
she and I and several people that I know, we were not able to fight against it. And then when I came across my meditation practices, and I started reading, like, Swami Vivekananda inspires me a lot. So he is another reason. Like, in his book Raj Yoga, he mentioned that if you want to go deeper into meditation practice, you should cut yourself from outside influences, good or bad people. Just ignore them. You should delve deep into this, and within 6 months, if you are dedicated and you are doing your practice as well, you can be a perfect yogi. So
Hmm.
this was my inspiration. And once I started sharing my journey of healing with my friends. This is when I was encouraged by them to come upon this, to share this with the world. And just a disclaimer, like, I don't consider myself a very advanced seeker, or I'm definitely not a guru. Like, that word and me, my name in the same sentence, that is not
Mm.
going to happen. I'm just a
Mm.
fellow seeker, and I'm just here to share how I was able to change my life for the better. So that's how I was inspired to do this.
So tell me one thing. We heard that you are also practicing regression therapy, which is all about, I think, past life regression. So what kind of changes are possible? What has been your experience?
Thank you. That's a very important question. I'm glad you brought it up. So when people hear the words regression therapy, yes, it has to do with going back in the past, because naturally, like, I believe that after all, an individual is just a summation of their habits. So
Yes.
when I wake up in the morning and suddenly somebody texts me something and I'm upset about it or I'm excited about it, it has something to do with the way my past has treated me, the way I have interpreted my past, and the way I have been continuously habituated myself to react in the same way again and again. So, due to the power of repetition and these habits formed, I am the way I am today. But in order to change that, in order to manage my emotions and to deal with stress and to deal with haters, with difficult people, I need to find a way to recondition my mind to incorporate good habits, so that when I come upon situations that are difficult to manage, upon conflicts and situations where I need to defend myself, I need to be fearless, then ekdam say it's not that I should just chicken out and leave that. We get into this fight or flee mode. So I should be able to tackle it calmly. Uh, so it takes a long time, it takes a long process to get to that point where you are calm in the most difficult situations, that you are able to handle your emotions. So what I do with regression therapy is that I'll come to the past life thing later on. So with regression therapy is that I start with people's current lifetime. Like,
Mhm.
so I'll just say this, that disclaimer again, that I was not a believer of past lives. Like, I was a skeptic. Like, I was an agnostic. I was open minded, but I was skeptical to these things. And before exploring meditation, like, I was spending all my time reading hardcore science books, science fiction books, physics, and all of that thing. So I was slowly turning into an atheist, but this is when meditation came in, and I had certain experiences which told me, it gave me this concrete proof that something is definitely there other than this material world and the five senses that have been reporting to us. So
Mhm.
I don't recommend people starting with beliefs, because once you have that belief, it is going to hinder your progress further when you want to know the truth. So you should go there with your glasses cleaned. Like, if you are walking into this path of self inquiry with colored glasses, then you will just be confirming your own biases again and again. So,
True.
coming back to regression therapy, um, this is where you need to come out of this bubble. Like, since childhood you have certain opinions and beliefs that you have simply acquired from everybody else. So you need to get out of that. You need to be a scientist, you need to be in the laboratory, you need to experiment, you need to perform these meditation techniques on yourself. You are your own guinea pig, and you need
Mhm.
to find it out on your truth. Like, truth is not a ready made garment or a dress that somebody else can hand it out to you. So this is my way of thinking. And so I start with my clients, their current lifetime, their fears and phobias, and all the adverse situations that put them in a situation where they're prone to depression, they're not feeling good about themselves, they feel helpless. So once
Mhm.
I start with current life, that's when they are ready to further explore all the other lifetimes. um, I basically began my regression therapy practice just focusing on the current lifetime.
Mhm.
It is like, due to my meditation experience, like, once I was able to recall my own past life, uh, I I previously I came across my friends who have done this regression therapy from other people, like they have done past life regression, and they were telling me that they were not quite convinced. Like, even after they went through that session and they saw what they were in that previous life, that, like, they were not fully convinced, and it actually did not change them for the better. Like it
Mm.
had pretty much zero impact, you can say, on them. So I got curious and I was like, okay, I need to find out about my past life because I was a skeptic. I wanted to
Mhm.
find out if this whole past life thing is real. I mean, I was reading in books of Osho, Swami Vivekananda, they were all talking about past lives. And I was also curious about this concept of karma, if it's real. So I decided to, like, I came upon this process by which I was able to slowly recall my own past life. And this time
You
it
did.
was, yes, it was real, and
Uh-huh.
it was such a shock. I'm going to tell you, I remembered my past life in 2019, and for the entire year I was not myself. Like I was I cannot
Mhm.
describe it in words. Like it was so intense, and
Mhm.
I decided to keep it to myself. I did not share this with other people, and I realized that this is a dangerous thing to do, to remember your own past life. And this is why I will not recommend people usually to go for past life regression. What I
Mhm.
do in regression therapy is that I just sort out the issues in their current lives, and I just finish with that, because the truth is not everybody is prepared, not everybody is ready, not
Correct.
everybody needs to know about their past life. Because sometimes what happens is that sometimes you awaken such drastic, dreadful past life memories. Like suppose if a person was a prostitute in their previous lifetime, or they were molested or raped in their previous lifetime, and they suddenly recovered this memory, it can wreak havoc in a person's psyche. You need to
Absolutely.
first be aware. You need to first sort out the life issues in this current life and
Mm.
function as a healthy, normal being. You need to be empowered. You're not destined to be a mouse, you're destined to be a lion.
Mm.
So you need to sort out issues in your current lifetime and live your best. You need to be your best version. So I have discouraged many people from wanting to do this past life regression therapy with me to remember their past lifetimes. I have done this with very few people, like the past life thing. Very few people. I can count it in my fingertips.
मजाक नहीं है ये मतलब this is a serious thing,
Yeah, this is serious business. This is you are doing a. It's like a
not for the
surgery.
sake of fun. Yes,
Yeah, it's not supposed to be just to quenching your curiosity. This is a
correct.
big deal.
जी, तो वो एक चीज़ और बताइए मुझे कि आई एम श्योर देयर इज़ अ इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ अ गाइड और अ गुरु व्हेन यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग और व्हेन you yourself are indulged and you're watching your previous birth, which you said you did. So what is the importance of this guide, and how did you get some guidance or guru, who helped you?
Yes. Um,
Or you,
so first things, the nature of my meeting with my guru, I cannot share it publicly because it's a
yeah,
lot to take.
yeah.
But yes, I was at a point in my life when I was ready to die because I wanted the truth. I wanted nothing but truth. I wanted it so bad that I was ready to die for it. It was a live or a die situation for me, and this is when I found guidance from two masters. One person guided me how to go deeper into meditation, and I received a lot of guidance from them. And so you asked me about my past life thing. Basically, I I was guided about this. Yes, I found guidance. Like I was, call it intuition or whatever. I felt like somebody was there watching me, and I came upon this process where I was gradually in during meditation. I was able
Mhm.
to recall glimpses of my past life. Now, it's important for us to know that it's like we previously discussed that this is not to be done for curiosity.
Correct.
So what this taught me, what remembering my past life taught me, is that uh, people have certain patterns, like they have certain habits and patterns that they are carrying from their previous lifetimes. And what I got to learn is that you need to be very careful with what you want.
Hmm.
They say that you should be careful what you wish for. This is very true. So I'll talk about the Bhagavad Gita passage where Lord Krishna, he says that the ultimate wish that one person carries throughout his or her lifetime. Most of the time, that is something that they desire that they did not get in that lifetime, which is why they are continuously desiring it. So this desire that you have, and when you think about it in your moment of death, and then you die, and then you take on that new body to again plunge back into life and run after those desires. Even Buddha said that desires are the root cause of sorrow. Desires
Right.
are the reason why we are circling round and round again in this cycle of birth and death. Um, so my mind was blown away, and I connected my past life memories with this lifetime, and it made sense why I want certain things. And what the lesson that I learned, that this is very cliche and a lot of people say this, but I mean it when I say this: we really need to be content with what we have. And that doesn't mean that you cannot dream big dreams and you cannot go after your ambitions and goals. What I'm
Hmm.
trying to say is, if you are constantly looking at the things that you did not have, then you will continuously only run after the things that you do not have. Nobody's
Hmm.
life is perfect. Nobody is happy. And so that's a certain level of balance that you need to bring in your life. So
Hmm.
suppose in my previous life, if suppose I was an orphan and I needed parents. So it's a lesson for me that in this lifetime, I need to not take them for granted. I need to rejoice the fact that I have parents. I need to rejoice for the fact that I have been given so many luxuries and happiness and comforts. I need to be happy about it. But no, people forget it. They don't remember their past lives. And again, they just obsess about that one thing that they don't have. And again, they just run after it. So I'm forgetting. What else did you ask me about this?
I think you have answered both the things. So, I mean, is it scientifically proven? Do you think there is a science behind it?
See, when it comes to science, now these truths that I'm talking about that I encountered through my personal journey, um,
Hmm.
in science, this is the basic principle, right? That what is true for oneself should be true for everybody else.
True.
But that is also an issue with this in the spiritual world, because one thing, it is personal, and secondly, because it this is something that you can observe and you can easily figure out that it at any given point of time in society, 80% of the people are going to be mediocre. They're not seekers of truth, and even if they try to meditate, there will be a lot of discomfort for them to deal with. Like they don't pretty much don't want to meditate, or they're just not even curious. They're not thirsty for truth. So at
Hmm.
any given time in society, truth seekers are very few, and these are the people. And I'm not even talking about spiritual masters. Let's talk about all the geniuses. We have artists, we have Vincent van Gogh, we have Einstein, we have so many people who have rejected the popular opinions, who have rejected everything society taught them, and they found out truth by their own, and they rebelled against the established norms of society. They rebelled against conformity. So this is the same thing about spiritual truth seekers. They are absolutely going to rebel against conformity. And so whatever they share, like their own experiences, it's not going to be shared by a normal person who doesn't care to know about all these things. So
Hmm.
not everybody in a given point of time is going to meditate and going to have intense um, experiences, the kind that a lot of people had, like all these spiritual masters had. So at
Hmm.
any given point of time, it is difficult to verify it in a mass scale basis. But yes, but you never know about science and technology. Ho sakta hai that in the future it is possible that today I'm not able to record my own meditation session. Suppose I had a very deep meditation session and I recall my past life. I'm not able to share that memory over a Bluetooth. Today I'm not
Correct.
able to, but who knows, maybe in the future with the help of advanced technology, we might be able to progress further in this path, and there can be some advancement in this area where we will be able to be working in this field with a open mindedness. But the problem also is that there's a lot of biasness happening amongst the scientific community as well. Because
Hmm.
even in today's day and age, there are certain technology, like there are some cameras and devices that can be used to photograph your aura and your energy levels and things like that. But again, like even when you have proof in today's day and age, some people are not going to believe it at all. Like even within the scientific community, if you look at what the late Stephen Hawking, he said about Higgs boson. Like Peter Higgs, he was continuously, relentlessly, he was trying to uh, come across the Higgs boson particle in the through the collision system, and like where they collide several subatomic particles, and they try to come upon the existence of certain particles like the Higgs boson. So Stephen Hawking, he said that this is rubbish, this is non-existent. But it is only when Sir Peter Higgs proved it in the laboratory, that's when the scientific community accepted it. And it
Correct.
was pretty much similar with Einstein's relativity theory. Like until it was proven, people are going to be skeptical. So even within the scientific community, there is so much skepticism of things that can be verified and proven. So this is a major challenge to prove in mass society when it comes to spirituality and spiritual experiences. So there are challenges, but I am optimistic about science. It can definitely come up with technology that can further objectively, where we can analyze spiritual development of individuals and their experiences.
Till science develop or explore, the reason or the rationale behind it.
See, when it comes to human nature, I'll say this one thing, that humans are governed more by their emotions rather than reason and rationality.
Hmm.
So, what happens is that that is definitely a rationality behind, like, when it comes to logic, since you talk about reason and rationality, for me, I wanted to know if there is justice in this universe. So that's when I verifiably, I based on my personal experience, I was able to confirm that the law of karma exists. For me,
Hmm.
it is true. So I was able to verify it. So for me, I might have a rational explanation. Some other seeker, they might have a completely different rational explanation. So again, we become, as a collective society, we become victims to our own biases, and there will be different rationality and different reasons that can change from one era to another era, because essentially we are governed by our own biases uh, and conditioning in our society.
I
So,
agree.
what might be reasonable and rational today, it might have been irrational in the past. Like today, we have technology to take us to the moon, but in the past, somebody else would have said that this is unreasonable, this is impossible, this is not rational. So,
Hmm.
that is a uh, effect of time and the era that we live in. Based on that, we decide what is supposed to be rational and what is not.
तो स्नेहा, किस किस तरह के क्लाइंट्स आते हैं आपके पास, और कितना वक्त आपका वो यूटिलाइज करते हैं, कितना वक्त आप बिताती हैं उनके साथ?
So I keep my practice open to mostly people who are into depression, because when I was depressed, and I wish somebody would have just told me about these things. So
Mhm.
I definitely give first preference to people who are depressed, who have spent thousands of lakhs of rupees and dollars on going to visit psychiatrists and psychologists, and even after that they're not healing. So I give
Hmm.
my first preference to them, and I slowly work my way. Like like commercial therapists, what they do is, like, they will, like, what can be done in a single session, they will expand it to 20 sessions. I don't do
Oh.
that, because I don't do this for for profitability. I
Hmm.
want to finish this in one session. I want to give them the audio, and I want to give them, like, constantly, I'm always in touch with them. And whenever they need any they need to find out something about their personal experiences, I'm there to share with them and be on their journeys together. So I try to do it in a very short period of time as possible, but I'm with them on the long term, as a friend, as a fellow seeker. So I do this one session where I analyze their habits. So this is one kind of people that I work with, depressed. And the other kind of people, basically people who are people who are ready to change their lifestyle, who are desperate to bring about a drastic change in their mindset, in their thinking. They want to succeed in life. They want to have that iron willpower of 1,000 suns. They want to just uh, be the best version of themselves. And they're very and they might be having some issues or blocks on the way. Even I've had it, and I still have it now. So I
Hmm.
collectively work with these individuals, and it's a very joyous. uh, I enjoy this journey a lot. Like I feel like I have made some use of my existence when I do this, and I see smiles on their faces, and I see that my life has been worth it. So these are the kind of people that I like
Your
to
life
work with.
is very much worth it.
Yeah.
One important and a very common question for anybody who start meditating. So, what is the key to get into a deep meditation? Because ध्यान लगाना ही सबसे ज्यादा मुश्किल है मुझे लगता है. वो ध्यान ही नहीं लगने वो हर एक कोई सांसों पे फोकस करने को बोलता है, कोई पूरा डिस्कनेक्ट होने को बोलता है, कोई secluded होने को बोलता है. So, what is the key? What is your one thing which you focus?
Right. So I'm not a guide and I'm still a beginner, but
Uh-huh.
I'll just share all the things that I did that enabled me to enjoy meditation. So the
Mhm.
first thing that I suggest people, and I've told this everybody again and again, like these are my signature dialogues, you can say that.
Mhm.
So, um, so I I ask my friends and people who ask me this. I tell them that just stick to these specific scriptures and books written by we have Swami Vivekananda, we have Ramana Maharshi, and we have Ananda Mahima. Just keep reading these books if you are naturally interested in these things. And
Mhm.
like either you can focus on the middle of your chest, which is called the heart chakra, or you can focus on the tip of your nose like Swami Vivekananda suggested.
Tip
um,
of your nose,
yes, tip of the nose, like you look at.
not the pineal gland, which is the Agya
I was
chakra.
about to mention that.
Oh, okay.
So
I had been.
Ramana Maharshi has talked about the heart chakra and focusing there. Then Swami Vivekananda, in his book Raj Yoga, he has mentioned that you can either focus on the tip of your nose or you can focus on your third eye spot, as known as the pineal gland. Um, so this is what I asked them to do, and what I personally did was that I was at a time when I was severely depressed, and I had given up on life. So when I come across such individuals, I say that this is the opportunity, golden opportunity for you to go in, because what happens is that when you are in that situation where you are feeling awful about your life, you don't know where your life is going. This is when, if you just plunge into this practice consistency, and if you just meditate, whether it's focusing on your third eye or tip of your nose, or focusing on your breath, or focusing on your on your heart chakra, like make sure to do this for just 5 minutes. Do it consistently with no one to disturb you, and this should be the last thing that you do before you sleep. Just the last thing, no other thinking. Stay consistent, and when you wake up in the morning, even for 1 minute, just do this, and then you walk out of the bed, and then you check your text messages. Like this changed my life for the better. And the second thing that I asked them is that for temporarily, for like if you want to dedicate 2 to 3 weeks to exploring meditation, I suggest that you should get off of your social media. And by that I mean there will be no meaningless scrolling, even on YouTube, even in on Instagram, definitely. Even like you can check your WhatsApp, but if you just get into chatting with somebody again, then you get distracted again and again. So this is just for initially, so that you're focused. You should get off of these things, these distractions. And like there are several techniques mentioned in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. This is a book from the Shiva Sutras. It has been
Mhm.
translated into English by. There are two versions of this available today. There is one version by Swami Lakshman Ju. It is a bit complicated to read at first, so which is why I suggest to go for the other version, which is from Osho. It's called the Book of Secrets, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. So I tell them that explore meditation techniques from these books and find out whichever intrigues you. Go deep with it. Like try this meditation technique continuously for 7 days minimum, and just stay consistent. So one of the techniques that definitely helped me, like it changed my life, other than like I started up with my third eye meditation, that changed my life. And I was able to go deeper into meditation after I started this meditation technique, where you focus on the middle of your chest. And like in during your day. Like, suppose I'm working, I'm speaking to somebody, I'm on the lift, I'm in the car, and there's traffic. During the gaps, like, suddenly my focus will just go in the middle of my chest, and I'll just stay silent, doing
Hmm.
nothing, thinking nothing, and I'll just stay focused there. So the more I do this throughout the day, the more my ability to go deeper into meditation increases when I'm sitting at night for my nighttime meditation. So the
Hmm.
more consistent I am, the more repeatedly I consistently do this, and the more focused I am without being distracted, you will see that automatically you are able to focus deeper, much better. And like, in this period, like, if you like minimize interactions, I'm not asking anybody to totally go off into seclusion mode, but if you minimize all distractions and limit interaction to a certain point, you will start seeing effects in 2 weeks. At least I did. I started seeing effects, and I have never stopped. I enjoyed it so much.
Great. So, I mean, what is your one piece of advice to the youth today? Because for them, there are a lot of distractions. There is social media. There is so much, and I'm sure somebody who is inclined towards it, then it's a different story. But somebody to create that interest, what is your one piece of advice to them?
The first thing that I always advise everybody is that don't accept opinions and any other, what can I say, opinions and beliefs without verifying them. Like,
Uh-huh.
you should first verify them. You should seek to understand it by personal experience rather than borrowing from books and from other people's opinions. And secondly, I would suggest that you should be kind to yourself. Fearlessness is an important quality,
Uh-huh.
because when you are uh, not fearless, when you are just afraid of your boss, of your teachers, of your parents, of everybody, then you are constantly just draining your energy, and you are just feeling as if you are helpless. So
Uh-huh.
if entire day, if you are telling yourself that I'm just this helpless creature and nothing can happen to me, and at night you are meditating, you won't be able to do that. So
Right.
first, you need that fearlessness. You need to slowly inculcate and uh, have good habits, good eating habits. You should exercise, and everything that usually people talk about. You should be doing that, and you should stay consistent on your goals. You should be fearless, and like Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutras, he mentioned about Yam Niyama. So
Hmm.
definitely you should follow certain basic principles, that I will intentionally not try to harm anybody. I will intentionally not do something that I will regret later on. And so once after doing all these things, and then you are curious about finding out the truth.
Hmm.
See, when it comes to meditation, like, again, like I just said, that very few people are seekers of truth. So you should try to, if you are right now not feeling that urge to know about all these things, try to search for people who are. Like, if you want to be a businessman, then you should go to advice from somebody who has already an established business. He's going to teach you about this more than somebody who has just theorized about this. So you should seek to have a good company to begin with. And if you don't have good company, if you have friends that you cannot trust, if you have friends whom after talking to them you feel drained out of your energy, then you are better off being alone, and you should not be afraid of being alone. Like,
Hmm.
once you think about all these things and then you plunge in, you're good to go. Like, there's nothing else, nothing more that you need to know.
Nice. So, Sneha, you have mentioned in the beginning also, and in between that you are just a beginner. But what is left and what is to be achieved? What I mean, in your journey, what is something which you aspire to do in this space, not in the cinema world, but otherwise in the spiritual world? What is something which you want to attain?
My lifelong dream, it has been to seek the truth. And I have read from Swami Vivekananda books and all these other spiritual masters that truth is your ultimate goal, and you have to relentlessly try to achieve it. And this word has many names in the spiritual community. Some people call it enlightenment, some people call it nirvana, where basically you break out of this bubble. So the way I see it is that since childhood you are in this bubble, um, So this is just an
वो तो
example.
आपने achieve कर लिया ना, मतलब you have already experienced the truth, you have already achieved nirvana, you've seen the
No,
other
no, no,
side.
I have not done these things. So this is just the beginning. When you are breaking out of that bubble and mold, this is just the beginning. I need to
Uh-huh.
plunge further, and I need to break out of all my shackles and patterns. So we are always it's as if we are married to this personality called Sneha. But when you go deep down and you start questioning, you see that I'm just a bunch of memories and how I interpret these memories, and I'm just a bunch of opinions and stuff that I have borrowed from outside and from my own understanding. And I'm just a mixture, a khichdi of all these things. So once you go deeper into meditation, you will realize that you are not these things, you are something more.
Yeah.
And since I recalled about my past life, so I am naturally curious to find out that what is it, that essence, that energy, God, energy, consciousness, Brahman, whatever name you give it, what is it that is being transferred from one life to another? What is it that is giving shape? What is it that is the basis? Like that is the clay, and Sneha is the thing that you make out of that clay. So I'm just this human by default, but I'm more than just that. So I am yet to find that out. And I think it's a long journey. It's going to be a long journey before I eventually find out. But yeah, that is my goal, to find out who I am, like Ramana Maharshi said. And that is what I'm striving for.
Great. Thank you so much, Sneha, for sparing out time. It's lovely talking to you, and we wish that you reach your destination in your spiritual path, and all the best for all your professional assignments as well. Thanks for sparing time. Thanks for talking with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here. I loved this, enjoyed this conversation so much. Thank you for your well wishes.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.